my name is Ashley Josephine, and today I've put together a sequence to help counter the effects of sitting for long periods of time. When we sit at our jobs, whether it's at a desk, on the couch, at the kitchen table, wherever it is, we tighten up the muscles in our hips, we're not moving the blood throughout the body, and a lot of research has been done that shows that sitting for long periods of time without getting up and moving around can actually take years off of our life. So let's get started right away. Come to stand with your feet together to touch. The big toes will touch and there might be a slight space between your heels. Bring your hands up overhead and we'll start in what is called mountain pose. Pull your shoulder blades down away from your back and spread your fingers wide. Just feel yourself spreading out, really pressing down from the hips to the feet and pressing up from the top of the hip bone up through the fingertips. Now we're going to go into a side stretch here, so go ahead and take your right wrist with your left hand, and then we'll fold over towards the left first, pressing your right hip out towards the side. Now we're stretching the oblique muscles in the side of the body, pulling them up and out. These muscles are at rest when we're sitting, and so it should feel nice to really stretch them out and start to activate them. Avoid crunching on the left side. See if you can still find length, even as you bend over. Inhale back up to stand, and then switch arms. This time your right hand will take a hold of the left wrist, and you'll start to press your left hip out toward the left and bend over toward your right. Keep pressing down firmly through your feet to establish a strong foundation with your legs. This will help you lift up on both sides of the body. This should feel really nice. Avoid straining or overstretching. Inhale back up to stand. Now we're going to take a nice wide-legged forward fold. So spread your feet out, maybe 3 or 4 feet apart. It will depend on how tight your hamstrings are. Bring your hands back up overhead and start to hinge forward from your hips. Bring your torso all the way down to the ground. You can lay your arms and let them rest on the floor. Release your head and your neck completely. Maybe you can grab the backs of your heels and pull your torso down further towards your thighs. Whatever feels great for you, but now you should be feeling the stretch in the back of the hamstrings, into the knees, maybe in the back of the calves. Really starting to stretch out the muscles that we contract when we're sitting. Letting the neck hang, maybe moving it back and forth. And breathe in and out here. Allow the blood to rush towards your head. Feel the relaxation benefits of this pose. Now, start to walk your hands over towards your right leg and turn your body so that you're facing the side. Bring your right leg all the way out to the side of the mat. Put your left knee on the ground and bring your forearms down onto the mat. Release your head and your neck. This pose is called runner's lunge. Now we're working into the hips, which when we sit might be the muscles that suffer the most. For those of us who sit for long periods of time, the muscles in the hips, the psoas muscle, the hip flexors, they become very, very tight. So this pose can be quite intense for some people. The goal is to release the tension in your body and in your mind. Use your breath to help let go of any strong sensations. And then walk yourself up onto your hands. Bring your hands back to center. Press yourself up into your wide-legged forward fold again, just for a moment. Take a breath in and out. And then make your way over towards the other side. This time, your left leg will come out to the side of the mat. Hands are to the inside of the foot. Toes are pointing in the same direction as the knee. And this might be all you can take, and that's totally okay. But if you're not really quite feeling a whole lot of sensation, try coming down onto your forearms and seeing what that does to change the pose for you. Now in this pose, you'll feel in the right leg. You'll also feel in the inner left hip. The deeper you can breathe here, the more your parasympathetic nervous system will kick in, helping to combat the cortisol, or the stress chemical that is released when you're feeling some of this tension and your mind is telling you, get out of the pose. One more deep inhale here. And then slowly come out, walk your hands back to center, and come to a seated position. So we're going to lie down on our backs, move into the hips again, this time with a supine figure 4. So the soles of your feet are on the mat, your knees are bent. You'll grab your right ankle and cross it across the left thigh. Flex your toes back towards your knee, and then grab your hands, wrap them over your left knee, and pull this figure 4 that you've created into your chest. Now, if you're feeling a lot in the outer right hip here, stay here. Otherwise, you can take your right elbow and press the knee away from you. That will help you feel more of a stretch. You can also pull the left knee in more towards your torso, or straighten your left leg while doing all of those other actions to get more of a calf and a hamstring stretch on the left side while you're stretching out the hip on the right. Whatever works best for you, listen to your body, and don't forget to breathe. One more deep inhale here, and then release. Plant your feet and switch sides. Your left ankle will come across the right knee. Bring your hands through the little hole that your legs create. Wrap your fingers and pull the right knee in towards your chest. Now, to help protect your knee joints, if you're feeling anything in your knees here, keep the toes flexed in both feet. Try to keep your tailbone rocking down towards the ground to help support your spine. Keep your shoulders relaxed and away from your ears. Avoid hunching them up towards the face. And notice this side might be more intense or less intense than the other side. That tends to happen when we distribute more weight unequally on one side, and all of us favor one side or the other. It's basic human nature. So when we stretch like this, we're able to tune into that wisdom of our body and kind of get a feeling for how we're distributing our weight when we might not even recognize it. Take one more deep inhale here, and then release your legs. Maybe pull your knees up into your chest and rock along the length of your spine. Come up to a seated position. We will do a pose called camel to open up the chest. So when we sit for long periods of time, it's common for us to hunch over in the shoulders, gazing down at our computer or whatever we're writing. So this pose will help open up the chest and reverse that hunched over position. So you'll start by standing on your shins. Your legs are forming the number 11 parallel next to each other. And you'll take your hands on the low back. You'll press your hips down slightly while you tuck the tailbone so your hips come over your knees, and start to lift your chest up while pulling your elbows back behind you. I'll turn to the side so you can see the back. Keep lifting up, tucking the tailbone down and gazing up towards the ceiling. Immediately you'll start to feel a stretch all across the collarbone area. Avoid any crunching in the low back. We're really just trying to find lift in the upper body. It's not a stretch for the back. Go as deep as you can. Some of you, depending on your flexibility, might be able to go way back. Some of you might be content right here. That's totally okay. Just keep breathing. As we stay here, the stretch gets more and more intense. as the fascia slowly start to pull apart and stretch. Take one more deep inhale. Slowly start to come out of the pose. And then sit back on your heels and close your eyes for a moment. Take a deep inhale. Deep exhale. It's common for people to feel dizzy or nauseous in that pose. It's so unusual for us to open up our chest, and that's a really vulnerable position for a lot of us. So it gets the blood flowing in ways that our body just isn't used to, and it can cause dizziness and nausea sometimes. So we always take a moment to sit down and relax after that pose. And now we're going to move into our final resting and relaxation. It's going to be a supported pose. You can take it without any props, but if you have a body pillow or any type of pillow really, I highly recommend you grab it and place it at the bottom of your spine, right at the tailbone. And then take a blanket and fold it up and place it at the middle or the end of the bolster, wherever your head lies. And lay back over the blanket. Let your arms hang long. And bring your feet in with the soles of the feet touching to open up the hips. This is a really passive hip stretch that feels so nice and restful and relaxing. You'll want to stay here all day long. Close your eyes and breathe. Feel completely and totally supported